ESPN welcomes you to one of the PBA's favorite stops on the tour, Medford, Oregon. Tucked in the Rogue Valley near the Cascade Range, and they embrace this sport and this tour. And the locals have been closely connected to this game through one of their own, 22-time titleist. Marshall Holman makes his home here in Medford, and earlier the Hall of Famer rolled out our ceremonial first ball, and yeah! Drop them all, Marshall. He will join us live in match number 2. And glad you're with us for our live coverage of the Bear Earl Anthony Medford Classic. I'm Rob Stone. Wonderful crowds here all week, including here live on Sunday. This tournament serves as a wonderful springboard to next week's Tournament of Champions in Las Vegas, the second major of the season. Joining me now, 13-time titleist Randy Peterson in this tournament, named after the late, great Earl Anthony. How can we even put in perspective how much he meant to this sport?
Well, Rob, when you talk bowling to folks that don't follow the sport, there's always two names they remember. One is Dick Weber, the other is Earl Anthony. Earl, arguably the greatest player to ever throw a bowling ball, winning 10 majors. Rob, 15 years in a row of winning at least one title. His intensity was unmatched. For me, the big thing was that Earl would lead tournaments by hundreds of pins when no other left-hander would make match play.
Anthony, the greatest lefty ever. There's no debate about that. Patrick Allen is the best lefty on the tour right now. He's making his 4th consecutive single show today.
And Patrick looking to repeat what he did last week, and that's climb the ladder to win again.
Your number 3 seed, the defending champion here in Medford, Texan Wes Malott, in search of his 2nd title this campaign.
And how about Bill O'Neill making his 5th telecast of the season, however, still looking for that elusive first win.
And Tommy Jones makes his TV debut this season. It is his first time as a number 1 seed in a stepladder final.
And in our 3rd match, it's the Women's Series finale. Stephanie Nation taking on Wendy McPherson. Stephanie, winner earlier this season in Omaha.
And we take a look at our men's stepladder bracket, and we begin with the lone lefty, the 4th seed, Patrick Allen, taking on defending champ, Wes Malott. The crowd in Medford into it early this Sunday morning here on the West Coast. And the lefty, PA, Hoss, Patrick Allen from Wesley Chapel, Florida, will bat leadoff for us. This is Allen's 4th consecutive telecast. He climbed the ladder last week in Reno to earn his 11th Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title.
One time. Let's go.
Likes to talk to himself. And he takes his time on the lanes as well.
Well, there's nothing new. We saw a lot of that last week. And Rob, you and I spoke with Patrick last night, and he talked about building a spot for himself on the oil pattern today. Being the only southpaw out there, he would have it all to himself all day long.
Here is Wes Malott, recently moved to the Austin, Texas area, the defending champion here in Medford. And Malott, well, don't be surprised if he spent some of his time this week around town with a real estate agent.
Well, to be able to do that anytime you get a chance to do that's obviously, you know, a great thing. And to be able to do it here in Medford is going to be even more special because they treat us well. The fans here are great, and it's just a great atmosphere, and I do really well here, so it's going to be a fun day.
As we mentioned, won here last season. The defending champion as the 3 seed here today. Back-to-back jacks for the Big Nasty.
And Rob, we talked about what Patrick Allen was going to do to try to help his side of the lane. The right-handers were in a unanimous agreement that during practice, none of them would get any further left than the 3rd arrow. You know, this pattern was very flat. It broke down very quickly. We saw guys in the later part of rounds lofting the ball over the gutter cap. The right-handers wanted to make sure they would never get that deep. I think they tried to build them a spot as well.
It's almost 1 versus 3. PA being that one, and you know, you're talking about the righties. It was almost like a Survivor-esque alliance. You know, the righty tribe is coming together, and we're tired of this lefty rolling around here. But PA said, you know what? I went up the ladder and won as the only lefty. Same deal this week. But I need to develop something Sunday to win. And he threw two lines out, which I found interesting. He said, I got to throw a snow tire at 10 and plastic at 15. Explain that for me.
I will, right after he converts the 6-pin. Well, Rob, what he means by that is the snow tire or the piece of charcoal at 10, that's going to try to develop a hook spot for him. The plastic ball at 15 is going to try to push oil down the lane and create holds. So, you know, sometimes you try to look for one, and Patrick tried to create both. And interesting, to start this match, he's using 2 different bowling balls. He's using a Hammer Blue Vibe on the right lane and the red Hammer Vibe on the left lane. He told me that the red Vibe is more angular in the back part of the lane. And you can see that motion right there late, right before the ball gets to the 1-2 pocket, a little bit of a snap. But we'll get into the oil pattern a bit later, but I will tell you this, that in talking with the players, they said that this oil pattern resembled a U.S. Open oil pattern in that very flat and very difficult, and that's why the players throughout practice were trying to create a little more mistake area.
They're rolling on the Earl Anthony oil pattern, the only time it'll be used this season. So here is Malott to open up his 3rd frame. He has started with a pair of strikes. Malott, number 2 on the Player of the Year points list right now. If he finishes 2nd or better, he will be number 1, leapfrogging Norm Duke. Good start for the Big Nasty.
And Wes Malott using the same ball on both lanes, the Cell Pearl by Rotogrip. And boy, as he dialed in early, you could see right around the 3rd arrow to start getting it outside the 10th board, that dark rangefinder down the lane. And that was key this week, is getting the ball consistently to the break point. Boy, and that ball faced up beautifully. Wes Malott perfect through 3. Patrick Allen has not missed the pocket, but only 1 strike through 3 frames.
Opening ham bone for Malott. The conclusion of Wes versus PA when ESPN's live coverage returns to Southern Oregon.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by H&R Block. Go to PBA.com and sign up to win tax services for 5 years and $5,000. H&R Block. You've got people. By Lumber Liquidators. Hardwood flooring for less. By Bayer Aspirin. Bayer. Expect wonders. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save 15% on your car insurance. Visit geico.com.